Court to order in this joint meeting of the Fiscal Court and Franklin City Commission.
And I will call the Franklin City Commission and Simpson Fiscal Court to order.
Mayor, would you mind to lead us in a word of prayer?
Happy to. Let's pray. Our most gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we thank you for the day. We thank you for the beauty of it. And Lord, we thank you for your great love, your mercy and grace that we have the opportunity to partake of every day. Lord, we thank you for this meeting. We ask that you would be with us. We ask that every decision that we make would be according to your will. We ask your blessings upon each person here individually. We ask that you would open our ears and our minds to hear and to seek what you would have us to do. Lord, we just ask you to bless the day, bless this meeting. For these things we pray in your name. Amen.
Lord, let's join me in the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first on the agenda is reports from mayor or city commission. Any reports? None. Of course, next is reports from the judge, magistrates. Anyone have anything y'all need to share? I have one thing, and I guess this will be the point that I'll bring it up. I asked Kenton about this. I think our regularly scheduled joint meetings are the first Tuesday in March and the first Tuesday in September. I would like to ask if we could consider changing the September meeting to the third Tuesday in September rather than the first. Because it's been a tough day. The Tuesday right after Labor Day with a fiscal court meeting this morning and now the joint meeting today, and that's going to be the case for 2 out of the next 3 years and maybe even beyond that. So is there any reason that we couldn't make that change?
No, I don't see any.
I have no objection to it.
What do y'all?
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I would say, of course, Pam is the only one in our office that's up here, but I would think all 3 of the ladies in our office would be glad of that, correct? So is that just takes a vote of each body?
Yes. Well, we get ordinance. If you're going to make it a regular meeting, we've got a regular ordinance. So I'll need 2 sponsors from you guys.
Okay.
And then
Sam will just redo it and we'll put it on our agenda.
I'll just change the date. I'll send a copy of the same.
Okay. And then we'll just, each body would vote independently at our next meetings and go. So is that okay with you guys? Mm-hmm. Thank y'all very much. The third Tuesday. City manager report.
Is this on the next site?
Yeah, so okay, so moving on into our regular business is discussion and or possible action regarding next site proposal. If, gentlemen, I think y'all remember, Myron, were you at the board meeting, Industrial Authority board meeting? We discussed this, it's been some time back, but next site brought a better, a little more enticing proposal that would make a little more sense. So, Kenton, do you want to? And I think y'all got it, it was on your portal too.
Yeah, all the commission has it. I think that from what I understand, Judge, that the mayor and Jenny Griffin and maybe the director of the tourism, and I'm trying to think another, you met at the Industrial Authority on this latest proposal?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And to summarize, they kind of came back with, I think the original proposal was $35,000 for 3 years, and I think this proposal come back for $15,000 for a 3-year agreement with 4 parties. I guess it was a request for 4 parties to share that cost, which is $3,750. And next site is basically, I was talking to Commissioner Williams. Yes, we have an industrial authority recruiter, Jenny Griffin, and he recruits industry. What's what's the difference between the two? Next slide is more focused on commercial, restaurant, if it's shopping, that's what they're focused on. And I know, Mayor, you kind of met with them a little bit more deep. Can you expand on that?
I did. I can expound upon that. What they do, they're a group of people that they go out and they do research on your community. And then they go out and they're always searching for businesses that or companies that will come in and fit your community. And they're recruiting constantly. They're out trying to recruit people into your community that's a good fit into your community. And they've been very successful in Alabama, North Carolina, Tennessee, and we'll be the first place in Kentucky that they're helping to recruit people into. We were fortunate that very fortunate that we got to meet with them a second time and to get the price down with them as to where we got. We have a phenomenal price, and I feel really good about them, and Denny feels good about them. I think also Dan Ware met with us. I think everybody's on board. Dan's on board, and the industrial authority's on board, and I feel like our people have talked about it. So I think, as far as I know, our commission's on board with it. So we just need to, if we're all in agreement, get an approval for it'll be $37.50 per year for the next 3 years for each entity, 4 entities. So we got the price down for less than half of what they earlier started out for.
But then there's a
there's
caveat as far as what size of facility, but this is like during the ribbon cutting, if it's a certain size square foot, there would be another charge up front. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So what I'm reading, if it's a restaurant or fast casual, it's $4,500 per location. Single or multi-tenant development, less than 10,000 square feet, $7,500 per development. So there's a kind of a increasing in scale based on size, but I also understand the group has a thumbs up or thumbs down. Not anything would be permitted, right? Is that how I understand that?
Correct.
So y'all follow, when they initially talked about this, they was wanting $35,000 a year for 3 years. They're saying now what they would be willing to do would be $15,000 per year for 3 years, and the city, tourism, and industrial authorities willing to split that $15,000 4 ways, with us being the 4th party. But the $15,000 per year has basically a performance clause in it, meaning that they will bring us projects that say, we think these are good fit for Franklin and Simpson County, and we can say, yes, try to get them here, or we can say, no, we're not interested. But then the performance side of it is, if they actually get that business to locate here, and we actually have, you said it'd be a ribbon cutting, and
That's
actually
right.
grand opening that the facility actually goes into operation, then there would be a performance dollars paid because of them locating here.
At that
What
opening.
they can do that an entrepreneur or that cannot do? I mean, will there be strings attached? Sometimes with our industry, we have to give and take to get industry to come. We got to improve our industrial authority. But we do sweeten up the pot, if you will, to lure them here. So I'm just curious on what can they do that an entrepreneur cannot do. I mean, if we've got a community that's thriving and it makes sense to establish a business here to make money, don't you think they're going to come here and do it anyway?
It depends on what they really know about the community. I mean, that's going to be the thing.
People like this, they're basically headhunters. They go out and look at these guys and introduce them to our community where they haven't even thought about this. And they come in and they look at it and think, hey, this is a good idea. No, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And I do think that there is some benefit in get on the radar. If we're thriving, we're on the radar. Everybody's aware of it. Our industrial board does an excellent job. And,
Well, Myron, you're right in one aspect, that if everything's really booming, then you have these other folks ready to come here. But I mean, right today, we don't have a Publix or a Kroger knocking down our doors.
that's true. And I don't know what the reasons are. I can't imagine that this company here would have all the answers, but there's economic reasons
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Mason,
But that is what they do, Myron.
Right.
They go out and that's one of the things they do, is go out and,
I have a question. The extra incentive after you have a ribbon cutting, what is that fee? Is it a certain
Well,
fee or?
it's based on the size of the facility.
Okay. Now, one other question. Is there any way to make that contingent on the fact of how many years that, I mean, you don't want anybody coming and, having a ribbon cut and a year later they're gone.
Yeah.
Could you make it contingent if they stay 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you give them every year they're still here, you give them a little bit of that fee, and by the third year, you get them all of it. I mean, you don't want to pay them up front and then have that business go out in a year.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to that. That would be a question we would have to bring before Mr. Branch and his group. I'm not opposed to that at all. Because you're right, they could locate a business here, 6 months later, that business is gone, and they've still got their money.
That's just like what we've had, Arby's was here how long? Guys?
They were here about 3 or 4 years.
And what is the chicken place, how long was it gone? I mean, he was
It's here
here,
about 3 years.
so,
Let me, get out a couple of things. One is, you don't have to swing with the pot. We don't have as much flexibility. This is for retail.
Yeah, and there's been no discussion of anything like that.
Constitutionally, I think both the county and the city are much, much more restricted where we cannot do things for retail we do for industrial prospects. I'll just point that out for you all. But the other thing is, Judge, that I have looked at, and I haven't had time to propose to the mayor, is in lieu of charging a fee per square footage, it would make more sense to me based on employment. Both the counties and the cities' property tax rates are so immediately low that square footage doesn't mean near as much to us as employment does.
Yeah.
If we could base it on number of employees, that would make a lot more sense to me if you could talk to them about that. In a 100,000 square foot building with 5 employees, there's nothing that either one of us are.
I guess my biggest concern is, it sounds to me like we're recruiting corporations to come in to do what small business owners are doing now. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of small business owners that are really not happy with when Walmart come in. There were a lot of businesses that were doing well, and then it came in, and they're shut down now. So I personally have a hard time spending tax dollars to recruit corporations to come in to compete against our small business owners and our local business owners. That's how I feel about it.
So now, this extra money that you were talking about, not the $37.50, but the other, does that go to the company?
The next site, it goes to
It
the next
next
site.
site.
Yes. That's part of their fee, their recruiting fee.
And my assumption is, Judge, that that's divided 4 ways too. That's not an upfront paid by the
Right,
city or the
right.
counties.
All fees would be
Everything's
divided 4 ways
ways.
between the city, county, tourism, and industrial authority.
is
Because, I mean,
there-
what Denny was talking about, the reason that the discussion come up in the industrial authority meeting, Denny's talking about how having some of these businesses, while I completely understand and agree with what Marty's saying, I get that you got private people doing small businesses, but, I mean, there are some services and some products that I don't care how big, I don't care what the size of the town is, there's some things that's not gonna happen in Franklin. I mean, there's things in Bowling Green that they have that no individual's ever going to do. It's gonna take that corporation to do it. That's just the wave of the future. And at some point, we may be without box stores like Walmart altogether. It may all be online, delivered to your doorstep 40 years from now. I don't know. But, yes,
I have another question. Is there a way for us to know some of the type businesses that have been recruited through this company?
was they not listed on here?
Did I not go far enough?
They might not be listed in here, I'm not really sure.
And is there a,
Page 13, it's the exhibit at the bottom, and it tells you what they're looking at, individual, specific.
Page 13.
You're looking for actual
yeah, I was just curious if some of the cities or
Well,
towns.
some of them are like a Chili's restaurant,
Yeah.
Publix, grocery stores,
Aldi's,
Kroger's, Aldi's.
Myers, PetSmart,
Well, what's the coffee place?
Starbucks.
Starbucks.
I mean, that's,
I mean, what they essentially do is they go to the higher ups, I guess, in these companies and say, hey, here's a town we're working with, would you guys take a look at it? They'll take a look at it and say, hey, I think we can make money there, or no, we can't.
Mason, this is a concern that I have. You know, the idea is great. Anything that we can do to promote our community. You know, unfortunately, to spend money to go out and recruit somebody, to bring something into the community. I hate that it's gotten to be that way. I don't think it would have to be that way. I think we'll be knowing a little better with the 2020 census. Unless our numbers grow, we're talking about our population. I think that may have a whole lot to do whether or not, you know, a franchise, Applebee's, you know, these big name people. I don't know, with 15 minutes up the road, the interstate, you could be in Bowling Green in 15 minutes. You know, I don't know how some of these places would want to, if we were probably 50,000 strong maybe, I could see some maybe a brand that Bowling Green may not have coming from. So spending this money to get people to come, because, you know, even our downtown merchants and stuff like that, I don't think they're overwhelmed, you know, with business. I think they do well because, you know, they're still here, and I love what's happening downtown, but they're not overwhelmed. And so, you know, Brownie made a good point. You know, you have these, you know, these eateries or what have you come in our community, and they seem to, I don't know, they fall short because of lack of business. Everybody knows when something new comes into your community, people just have a tendency to it just overloads it on the front end. And then it'll slow down and begin to almost look like, sometimes I wonder how overtime even makes it. But they seem to do. Maybe it's because they have, you know, the sale of beverages. You know, I'm concerned about that. I know that that's something maybe we can really look at more, and maybe even put money into as far as how to recruit people. And I know we've been working on some of this stuff, but we've got to grow our numbers in our community before I think we can make a big splash on big names, eateries or what be it. I mean, you have the shopping malls and stuff down in behind Overtimes and down by Walmart. I mean, it's they just put a shoe store out there, but it's kind of a ghost town in that little area right there. And so I don't know if this is a good investment or not. I'd like to think that it would be, but I don't know if we just have the numbers in this community to be able to support spending this money to get somebody to come in, and then they just fall short because lack of, you know how difficult it is finding people to man those places now. I think that's one thing maybe happened to Bojangles. They just couldn't find employees. And so this is stuff to consider before you do this, spend this money. So maybe the 2020 census may give us a general idea of our exposure or our population growth.
Well, I personally feel like that the money, to me, is not that big of a deal. I know what we pay for, you know, going toward Denny. He does an awesome job and he's done fantastic getting industries here, but he does not have the opportunity to get the retail here. So when we have someone coming in, I'm sure that they have to talk to the judge or the mayor and go through all this process and maybe spend a lot of time and might even have to make a trip. So there are expenses into luring those people here. So you're gonna have those kind of expenses anyway. I just, I just feel like that we've got to we're not gonna be guaranteed anything. But I think we just need to be careful not to just allow these people come in and be here a year and gone. I think if we're gonna do it, we have to make it, this is a 3-year contract, right? Then I think that those, 3 years for the company to stay should be a requirement if these people are gonna get this other money. I don't know if they'd wait for that money till the 3rd year, but that's one way to see that they can.
And I'm not gonna put words in Denny's mouth, but, if my understanding from him was, he felt like some of these types of retail businesses would be huge in industrial recruitment too. That depending on what type of services or amenities are in the community is becoming more prevalent in determining where certain industries will locate. So. But it sounds like from what I'm hearing that we need to ask this gentleman here about how they would work out the performance fees and whether they'd be willing to do it on an employee count rather than square footage. And yeah, I think that's a great idea. Or even if by a nod of a head you've got 6 out of 8 people that just says, I'm not interested in this right now, we might as well move on to the next topic.
I'm not
I got 3 with no interest already. So I mean.
I feel like I need more information.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to something a lot simpler. Discussion or possible action regarding a computer purchase for the Planning and Zoning Office. As most of you know, Carter come over some time ago to Planning and Zoning. He brought a laptop from the city. I think that laptop is due some type of update.
It's on Windows 7 and that expires in December, so and it can't be upgraded to 10.
And what we really need to do is get Carter a computer that's tied into our network and our system here at the courthouse anyway. And I don't know, we're talking about and the reason we're talking about it here is because obviously the city and the county jointly fund planning and zoning, but this computer's, what, a $1,500 to $2,000 deal?
Me and Carter texted about this over the weekend, and I think I was trying to throw numbers out there. I really would like to have somebody like that come up here and talk to Carter and look at what kind of program we're going to be running on the system, how much, what kind of memory we're going to need. We need to look at his program and see how much we're going to, the mapping and all that stuff that we're going to send to the cloud, how much we're going to have to keep in the system. So I would probably, before we throw any numbers out there, I would like to get NetGreen to come and just sit down with Carter. He talked about a bigger screen so they could open up apps and see, have to do it pieces. So it would probably be better if we get somebody to come really take a look at it. And we use NetGreen. They've been a very, very reputable company. They take care of everything and service everything. They maintain all our computers, over the internet and so forth. So that would be, I think, me and Carter's suggestion right now that we get some kind of pricing. And we haven't had time to do that because this conversation we just had, I think, Saturday sometime. So I haven't had time to contact them, but we can get them up here to next to what we need.
Okay. What Bill's talking about, NetGreen does all of the computer stuff here.
Do you think it'd be more than $3,000, Bill?
How much?
More than $3,000? I mean, up to $3,000? That's what I'm saying. I didn't know if we approve that limit, that way I'd say it'd be between $2,000 and $2,500. I'm just saying.
If he uses the exact number, we can still budget
why don't we just do it now with up to a certain limit, and then we're done? That's just my opinion, so we don't have to bring it up again. It's $1,500 per party at the max, I mean.
Yeah, I was gonna even suggest, why not say up to 3,500 in case there's something kind of crazy there?
Well, you mentioned monitors, and I agree,
Yeah.
you need larger monitors, but that way we cover it, and then we don't have to bring it back up in a regular session on each party. It just makes it simpler, in my opinion. So,
Is 3,500 a good number?
I think that's very, very.
Or y'all any discussion? So I would need a motion that we approve the purchase of a computer for P and Z based on Net Green's assessment up to $3,500.
That would be divided between.
It's half and half city county. So Myron's made the motion, Scott seconded.
Okay. We'll need a motion to make that decision.
We will.
I'll make a motion with approve it on condition.
Okay. Seconded. Motion by Commissioner Powell, seconded by Commissioner Williams. All in favor? Aye.
And we had, Myron made the motion, Scott made the second.
Myron Herman.
Yes.
Scott Poston.
Yes.
Nathaniel Brown.
Yes.
Marty Chandler.
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next on the agenda, gentlemen, this is something we discussed, I think, maybe in brief at one point last year. But it's just the planning and zoning rates, and it was on your portals, and I'm sure you guys got a copy that's in your agendas of what has happened historically at the planning and zoning office and where we're at. And it's just a discussion to see if we're where we need to be. And Carter assured me that he would rush through this and get through it in about 10 minutes. Was it 15?
I like 10.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for your time today. I wanted to see through this and pick up where we left off in our last meeting independently. The average revenue per permit. You can see the average revenue on the building side is 190. And compared to last update, it's 188, so we've got a 1% increase. Average revenue on the electrical side of the house is 150, compared to last update, 155.28, and it's down a little bit, and that's attributed mostly to the single inspection permits that were sold. They seem to dominate the overall permits by 38%. New home permits, new home build permits issued period to date 58 compared to last update 47. Compared to the same period last year, 39. 48.7% increase over the same period last year. While new home electrical permits continue to match up the numbers issued period to date, new home builds, unfortunately, there was no measurement from last year to compare. So we're kind of still in the dark. I know it's hard for y'all to see that, but that's a spreadsheet that I have in my computer that we just talked about, that I monitor each type of permit, and I'm starting to monitor our dollars per square foot new builds. As you can see in the bottom line, along the bottom there, that's what we did last year, and above it is what we're doing now. So the trend is holding pretty solid, as you can see. Overall electrical permits, if you look at the top, I alluded to before, that's the single visit permits that seem to dominate the system. If you look at total permit numbers, you can see the comparison that there's a large number at the bottom here compared to the single visit permits. Single permits and, of course, the new home permits, all consistent with new home build permits. Inspections, electrical inspections booked through July was 342 visits. Building inspections booked through July, 169 visits. I personally have done 32 footer inspections through August 23rd. Inspection comparison, if you look, you see this above electrical over a period of 25 weeks, we averaged around 8 a week. And anticipated cost or estimated cost of $163. Now that we have the outside contractor, we've yielded this many inspections and over 16 weeks, and we're knocking out about 21 inspections a week. That's, mind you, the 2 days per week. And our cost is fixed because of the contract that we have with the outside contractor on that. We come down to the building, we were averaging 5 inspections per week and yielding a cost of estimated about $81 per inspection. Now that we have a part-time employee, we've yielded so far 169, averaging 12 a week, and at an estimated cost of $42 an inspection. Continued improvement in electrical and building inspections. Weekly cost improvement in electrical inspections noted at 19.5%. Weekly production improvement in electrical inspections noted at 262.5%. Cost improvement of building inspections has been 52%. And the weekly improvement in building inspections noted at 51.8. So we're making a lot of headway here. Permit rate of charge. First rate structure that I can find is in Ordinance 910-1, dated back to 81. Now, planning and zoning started permitting way before that, but there's no records. And it was an independent body, so it's kind of hard to find anything endorsement-wise. So the latest I could find was in 81. Based on 5,000 cost, for example, would be a $15 permit. The number of inspections is wide open. There's nothing that illustrates how many inspections to the type of building permit. And as the project increased in price, cost-wise, the number of permit fee dollars spent would go up as well. As you can see, I don't know that you can make this out. I tried to make it as big as I could, but as you can see, if the project costs on your left there would generate the rate on the right for the permit.
And something to bear in mind there, Carter, in 1981, average home probably cost $75,000, where today the average home is $250,000.
Rate of charge changed in '86, and you can barely see it, but right here is where it is, it's 6 cents a square foot. That's the earliest time that I can find where it was illustrated. And again, I'm focused mostly on single-family builds because that seems to be the bulk of our permits that are generated. Once again, the rate of charge changed but remained the same, 6 cents in '98. Here's an example of what was done. If you can look at this and see on our permit schedule, they again have 6 cents per square foot as of today. So from 81 as of today, that 6 cents has remained the same over time. Change in charges over time. Notice the change from the cost of project per square foot in '86. The exception to the addition of additional type of permits added, not many changes were observed, maybe due to the fact the office provided level 3 inspections at the time, and up till 2004. It was observed that the inspection charge for an installed project somewhere between 98 and what is used today at $10 per trip. So they instituted some kind of inspection charge in between 98 and today of $10 per trip, which has remained the same. What we've covered so far, we've covered our update from last report, the average revenue per permit, new home permit level trends, overall permit trends, inspections, value created through the recent changes made, permit rate of change history over the past 38 years. Known details of 38 years, we only begun changing the inspections of the structure, the visit to walk through, somewhere between 98 and 2004, which appears in today's used rate card at $10 a visit. The rate of 6 cents a square foot has been used since 1996, or 86, and wage and benefits, fuel, supply, and equipment, overhead continue to rise in cost year after year. Today's permit example, as you can see here, is $81. That's based on the 6 cents a square foot. And then we have like there's $81, and then $50 and $40. The $50 is for the certificate of occupancy, and the $40 represents 4 visits on this permit example here of 1,350 square feet. Build permit square feet is 1,350 times 6 is $81. Certificate of occupancy is $50. Fee for 4 inspections is $40. The building permit fee for that particular home is $171. Same permit in Russellville. Build permit fee is $1,350 times 6 is $81. Certificate of occupancy is $50. Fee for 4 inspections at $55 is $221. So that permit would have been $351. Same permit in Glasgow. Basically, as you can read through this, they do it a little different. They're unique over there. They have one man that does it all. He's the electrical and the building inspector. He's also level 3 and can handle the larger projects as well. But the end result on this particular home would have been $350 for the permit. Same permit in Bone Green, purely based on the cost provided by the applicant. They've got a $20 base, and then the calculated fee based on the cost of the build, $431. Certificate of occupancy is only $3 there. Stormwater fee, which is something we don't do here, and $50 brings the total cost to $504.25. The building inspections are included, I might add in there. And the electric permit is separate. Same permit in Scottsville, Kentucky. Zone fee, that's a new one. $5. Mechanical fee, $50. Apparently they issue permits for HVAC out of the Scottsville office. And they have 5 building inspections at $50 each. Their particular permit fee would have been $305. In comparison with our sister communities, we were 171, Russell was 351, Glasgow 350, Bone Green 504, Scottsville 305. That same bill. What drives the permit cost? Inspections, estimated cost, our estimated cost of $44.07 per inspection. Permit issuance and setup, one-time estimated cost of $4.89. Materials used, one-time estimated cost $75. Inspection log maintenance estimate at $3.43. And what that is every time the inspection is performed, feedback comes in, we have to add that back into our system. So that's basically data entry. Address assignment, this is a new one we've been doing for the last 8 or 10 years, I guess, and really nobody has observed the cost until it becomes apparent when you have multiple sites in the subdivision you have to do, but that's an estimated cost there of $12.34. An issuance of the COO, which our building inspector would come in after the final and put together the paperwork and issue the COO for the financial transaction about to take place. Days of permit charges, $81, $50, $40, $171 total. Today's permit cost, $176.28. That's based on just the inspections alone. I'm going out 4 times. Permit setup, $4.89. Inspection maintenance, $13.72. Permit material, 75 cents. Address assignments, $12.34. COO issuance at $36. Total estimated cost of $243.98. Present rate, these are just suggested adjustments that I made based on my assessment. A square foot rate of 6 cents, adjusted to maybe possibly 12 cents to think about, and the inspection of $10, move that up to possibly $50. Show that up just a bit. Electrical permits and inspections. In years past, permits and inspections were provided over electrical from this office through the ordinance 910-.30, dated 12/16/2002. Over time, the permit and inspection seemed to suffice for what it was intended. As of this year, 2019, we were faced with the requirement of an inspector and forced to opt into an electrical inspector service agreement for the inspection part of this ordinance. Because the agreement fit really well with the inspection changes already in place, the only change that took place was the offered days of inspections went from 4 days to 2 days a week. However, due to the change from employee to contractor for inspections, it became apparent that required changes need to be made in performing routine record keeping of the inspections issued, the permits and the inspections issued. Electrical permits and inspections. The original permit process in place would suffice for now. We installed a call-in log for inspection so we can track requests. We plan 2 days per week inspection offerings spaced to allow for a consistent flow week to week. We installed steps after inspection to record results and allow for the next inspection request that we call inspection maintenance. That's a particular snapshot of our electrical permit in use today. As you can see in the top, there's our $10 inspection permit fee. And then the rest of our meat and potatoes in our permit is made up around the inspection fees, which on this particular one, not sure, but would require 4 inspections on this particular one, probably a new home. Closed permit review, inspection fee charge is what we were billed from the service recently contracted. Permit fee of $10, which was when installed in 2002, may have been enough to cover the cost of permit and inspections. With the recent changes with the inspection provided by the outside firm, the $10 permit fee does not cover the initial cost of managing the inspections day to day. Project costs associated with managing the inspections, establishing permit, post-inspection maintenance, inspection building audit, permit materials, estimated costs associated with it, $22.14. Total collected is $10. We're in negative $12.14. District adjustments, permit fee from $10 to $25. Future plans, plan review of larger projects to allow local permitting and inspections. This is something that we had prior to 2004, and when we made the changes, we never got to that plateau again. But that's important. Long-term plans for inspection permits issued, permit inspections automation. In other words, I'd like to get into doing more electronic record keeping, less paperwork, outlining enhanced procedures for redress point establishments, and study the growth pattern, make a growth pattern study where we would like to be in the next 25 years and how we should control our growth to get to what we have in a 25-year vision. Thank you for any questions?
Before y'all start asking any questions, the last 12 pages there just is the page that Nicole fixes every month that shows the activity of the planning and zoning office. And if you go through and take the total balance due over the past 12 months, if you went through and added or subtracted, as the case may be, to each one of these, you'll find out that the past 12 months, that balance is a negative.
What would be based off the last 3 months since we are under contract?
The last 3 months have been much better.
I mean, he just said we cut our cost in half, or about $110 per electrical inspection and $840 per building inspection. Our cost has been cut that much
Yeah.
on that chart.
We can true up the cost opposed to what we're bringing in on the permit by moving our fee base up.
I understand that, I was just saying in the last,
Yeah, over the
about
last 3 months,
months.
it's been, if it hadn't have been for that fact, we'd have been way worse.
I
than
understand.
negative.
I just
About
wondered if-
30,000, a little over $30,000 the last 3 months.
We're going in the right direction.
Huh?
We're going in the right direction.
Right.
If we would have been talking about doing this 6 months ago, we'd even be better at this point. However, financial, the numbers don't lie. I mean,
Right.
basically, you can't continue offering service and, be behind with staying with the cost. And obviously, that's what this showed us today. It was established in '81, and it's not maintained with the cost all the time.
Well, in 1986, it went to 6 cents, so it's 33 years at the same rate.
So the recommendation, Carter, is that you had up there to go 6 cents to 12 cents, and also the inspection trip is to go to $50? Is that what the slide was?
Actual cost accounting that I did with our building inspector and how, based upon his throughput and his production, comes, because he's 2 days a week and part-time, it's a much lower cost than would it be if he was full-time 5 days a week, you see. So that's the majority of it, but to match dollars to dollars, if we're bringing in 50 and that inspection cost is 44, or you can match it. Charge 44 times 4 for the permit and meet that, but I'm just saying that rounded off either 45 or 50, but I suggested 50, that way you can keep that momentum going as you move forward with it. Because I monitor them every week. I showed you the spreadsheet and monitor how many inspections he does every week.
Is $50 what's in his contract?
Right now, he's just,
For the electrical, yes.
for the electrical, yes, but the building is hourly with a maximum of 14 hours per week. And I guess one thing we should all bear in mind is that it's all well and good right now, and it's working really great. And Ron on the building side and Mr. Thomas on the electric side have really made a big turnaround in the way that the program works. But at some point, 2 days a week is probably not going to cut it. And so then the cost side starts coming back up a little bit.
If we do this change, how does that compare us to the other communities around us? I know that Scottsville, Russellville, I mean, if you do 6 to 12 and
Still less, isn't it?
what
We're
is,
still less.
Yes.
is it
we're
still
still
42?
Where a foot cost.
Yeah, it's based on
Yeah.
But
foot.
our trip cost will be about the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think there needs to be something done. I don't know that doubling the per square cent cost is the way to go just right out the gate.
That's the problem I have.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like go from 6 cents to 8 cents would be good, and then the fixed costs I think are right. I think the fixed cost, you go to that $50 and you take the electric permit from the 10 to 25, but if you just overnight double the per square cent cost, yeah.
Are these current,
We got him.
Yes.
Do what was your question, Myron?
On these numbers, Glasgow, Russellville, are they current numbers? So
Yeah.
they're still at 6 cents a square foot.
Another thing, we went from full-time employees to a contract. It was based off the fact that it was going to save a lot of money,
Yeah,
which we did, and we,
yeah.
but then if you go and say, okay, now we're going to double your fees on top of that, I think there's going to be a lot of builders that are going to,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people building that are not going to like that at all.
Yeah, I don't think we can double that fee.
But we do need to cover our costs.
Absolutely.
We do need to cover it, and we can't do that $10 trip.
No, I agree, the fixed cost definitely needs to change, and even in the business, I say the rate needs to change, but I don't know that it can double overnight.
Mason, since the rate increase he's proposing is gonna be 6 cents, why don't you go half of that and do 3? increase and make it a total of 9.
It's 6 cents right now.
That's, I know, but he's proposing to make a 6 cents increase up to 12. So take that 6 cents instead of doing a full 6, just half it and make it a 3 cent increase, and you take it up to 9. And so you're not taking it all the way up, but you're getting a little bit more.
Other than Bowling Green, of course, they put their calculations based on how much that house costs. We're gonna be considerably higher than any of our neighbors. Considerably.
And Ron, you probably know the answer to this, does Warren County and the city of Bowling Green charge the same rates?
I think the county charges the same rate.
But I know Warren County charges so much per $1,000 value, I just can't remember what that number is.
True, the fairest way is to charge by the square foot.
Yeah. That's true, because you could build a 3,000 square foot house as simple as you wanted it and to bring the cost down, or you could build it extravagantly and bring the cost way up, and then you're trusting that the people are putting a number down when they come in anyway. Square footage on a plan doesn't lie.
What is the zone fee it's cost for? What is it?
The what?
It's a zone fee of $5. What is it?
It's just a zone fee that's on their application, and they hit it for $5. Basically, I guess it's determining their zone. Now, they don't have zoning in the county. It's only in the city. So the county's wide open. They only have to have a permit for anything.
I think if we change our trip fee and leave our square foot cost alone, I think that is making some strides. We may have to work into changing the fee, square foot fee, but that's a pretty good increase on the get-go.
The majority of our cost right now is inspection.
So what you're saying then, Myron, would be, let's look at the fixed cost fee, like the inspection fees and the permit fees, do something with them, and then revisit the rate maybe next spring. See what we're doing, see how it's going along.
That's pretty good, that's a pretty good increase.
I'm good with that.
And that'll give us some more accurate numbers on it.
Right. But I agree, your fixed cost fees, you've got to cover. And those fees are gonna be the same, whether we got a part-time guy going to do it 2 days a week or a full-time guy doing it every day. Those fees, for that part of the permit is gonna be the same regardless of what we're doing.
As long as we're covering the cost, the office is not really there to make.
You're right, it's not a money maker.
It's something, but it's not, we can't be losing on it, but as long as we cover the cost, then that's where we should be.
So if we took the inspection fees from 10 to 50 and the permit fees from 10 to 25, we'd be going in the right direction to cover our fixed costs.
I feel comfortable with that, yes. And if you want to do it
Even the electrical
incrementally,
at 25?
The electrical
if you want to
permit.
do it incrementally rather than all at once, I'm fine with that too, because I feel like that we're stepping in the right direction, we're just not sitting here watching it happen and doing nothing.
You know, the electrical aspect of it, we've been paying, it costs $210 per permit just for the electrical.
Yeah.
So the building part of it's been steep.
Yeah.
The electrical part of it, we've been ponying up on that.
You're saying do that incrementally, Carter. Are you saying something like maybe take that inspection fee to $30 and revisit it in March and see if we need to be at 50?
That's a possibility, yes. If the commission and both bodies want to research that, I know it's $44 based on all the details that I've watched in the permit process and the inspection process. I know it's $44 per visit. Now, if you know, from $10 to $44 is a heck of a step, you know? And I've always found out that when you got that big a space to cover, if you have a plan in place, it's just as good as covering it overnight and don't hurt as many people. Now, I know, realize that the group of people that are going to buy a permit with inspections, whether it be one inspection or 4 inspections, is limited, the number of people that are going to be buying it. But I feel like that if you wanted to do something incrementally, we could do something incrementally. I mean,
See, his tracking of the actual cost for inspections, $44.07 per inspection.
So to get there, we need to be up $34. So if you do it half of 34 1 year and do the other half a year or two later, then you're up to 44. But by that time, it may cost more than 44.
It'll be more than 2 years.
it very well could be.
I really don't have a problem with the 50,
Yeah.
other than, I think this law should take effect like November 1st or something.
Yeah, I think January 1st would be the way to do it.
Okay. Well, I know there's people that I'm sure have already got
Yes.
projects bid, and they're waiting to get bids back, and
Yeah.
that could have changed. I
Agreed.
mean, that's not a lot of money, but there's still more money that they would charge for,
Yeah,
they would charge a home.
right. It'd be my recommendation that if we make a change, it'd take effect January 1, would be, what do you guys think?
Always
Yeah,
good
I
to
think
start.
Judge?
We should start first of the year.
$30 or $50 per.
I don't disagree with Marty on this. I think that if the costs are $44.07, it doesn't hurt that that fee's $50 and raise the permit fee from 10 to 25, but leave the per square foot rate as it is, and we'll revisit that next spring.
Effective
Is it
January 1.
effective January 1?
And
Is
you
it-
have time to communicate it from
Yeah,
basically to.
So we're gonna go from 10 to 25
on the permit fee.
and revisit that later on,
And-
depending on the cost of.
And make the inspection fees on the building side the same dollar amount as they've been on the electric side for some time.
We've been used to that for years.
Yeah,
It's not a game changer.
And just keep that screenshot of that deal where it shows the cost. So when somebody asks,
yeah.
why are these costs going up?
Here's what it costs us to do it. Yeah. So if I'm understanding right, what we're looking at doing would be increase the permit fees from 10 to 25 and bring the building inspection fee from the current $10 rate to the $50 rate to match what the current electric inspection rate is. Effective January 1 of 2020.
And leaving the square foot price at 6.
And leaving the square, we're not touching the square foot price at this time.
I think that's what we need to do.
You want to make it a motion?
We have to.
We passed those as an ordinance. I'm sure all of our fees.
yes, you did.
So
Okay.
we need 2 sponsors.
Okay, so we just have to do an ordinance then, I guess,
At the next court meeting.
at the next court meeting. At the next 2 court meetings.
Yeah.
Brownie and Herb, Brownie and Jane, sponsors.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so y'all attorneys, you got what you need there. Thank you, Carter.
Thank you.
Was there any other
Makes
questions
it
before?
Very helpful you have all that lined out for us to see it. You know, it makes no sense.
I look at this every day.
Yeah.
I think I have to run like a business, and it's mine.
Yeah.
Is there any other regular business that we need to tend to?
Yes.
Prior? I think the city has one piece of business that they need to tend to before we do need executive session, but the mayor asked, could they tend to one piece of regular business for the city?
We have an item here that's in reference to FPI's 30th anniversary, and I'll let Kenton Powell take that and explain to you what it is, and we need to vote on that.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, the city has a fireworks ordinance, and basically for anybody requesting to do fireworks outside of the 4th of July, they have to submit an application. The application was submitted, and it's the FDI's 30-year anniversary. It's on September the 20th. The application's been filled out. Chief Goodrum has reviewed the application and has signed it, and basically for it to go further to be submitted to the state, the commission needs to approve it, and I think they have 15 days to submit to the state. If it's approved, obviously that gives us time to communicate to the public, to dispatch that this event will be happening. So, but anyway, the company that's doing it is Zambella, the same company does Kentucky Downs. They're very well known, they're very professional, so. Slaughter, you have anything to add to that?
I went out Friday and checked out the site. Everything looks good. They got everything else in order. He's got a site map. It has to be in the state 15 days before the date. So it put us a little bit of a time crunch, which is why we're doing it here instead of the regular meeting. Chief approved it. It's signed. I've got it ready to be mailed as soon as y'all approve.